Welcome to another episode of This Woman Works. I am your host, Mike Patton. And on this episode, we're going to get a little snobbish, I should say. In this episode, we're going to talk about a business called Tea Snob. And if you're not aware, you're going to find out on this episode. And I have the CEO of Tea Snob, that be Miss Cassandra Spearman. How are you doing?
I am doing great. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
It's great to have you on the show. We're going to get into kind of your journey to where you got to now. But before we get into that, of course, every episode we start This Woman Works with the Black Girl Magic Moment. And in this episode, I felt it'd be quite appropriate to talk about Angel Reese. Now, Angel Reese, a.k.a. Bayou Barbie, was, of course, she was known for her play and her tenacity at Louisiana State University, or LSU for those that don't want to spell it out. And of course, she led them to a national title and made them a force on the scene by being just basically the face of that team. Now, after last season, of course, they lost to Caitlin Clark before going to the Final Four. But, of course, she could have came back and played another season of college basketball. However, she decided she wanted to take her talents to the WNBA and went ahead and declared. Of course, when she declared for the WNBA, people were wondering how she transitioned to the WNBA, saying, okay, she really can't shoot a jump shot. She might be undersized for this position, or different things that kind of doubting her abilities and how she could play in the WNBA. Well, to everyone's surprise, I say those doubters' surprise, she actually is averaging a double-double in the WNBA of 13.3 points and 11.4 rebounds a game. She is definitely doing her thing. And, she set a record for the most double-doubles in WNBA history, consecutive double-doubles. She's at 11 straight games and counting, including a game where she had 19 rebounds against the Atlanta Dream in a win. And, recently she was named an All-Star, WNBA All-Star. Now, this year is going to be different because the WNBA All-Stars are going to be playing against the Team USA this year. So the women's Olympic team will be playing against the WNBA All-Stars. So, I when she was told about it, she was very emotional and kind of marked her journey and talked about how she made it to where she is now, and people not believing in her and her believing in herself and just going out there and getting it done. And I had to take this time to show props, to show some love to Miss Angel Reese, because you proved the doubters wrong. You went out there and did what you do and did your thing, and I had to show props. She is definitely making WNBA history. Even though people may want to talk about her and talk down about her, I'm going to lift her up on this episode and talk about how great she is doing and the great impact she is having in the WNBA in her rookie season. Angel Reese, the Black Girl Magic Moment for this episode. I mean, I don't know if you have anything to add to that one, but I just had to kind of get that out my system and give props to Angel Reese. I mean, doing her thing.
Great. I just would say thank you for highlighting Black Girl Magic.
Definitely, definitely. She definitely is one that gets a lot of scrutiny, for different things that she does and the way she plays and the energy she brings sometimes that some people don't understand. But she's a competitor, and as she says, she said this herself. So I'm not making this up. She said, "Hey, I'm a dog on the court." There you go. So all right. So we're going to kind of transition from talking about Angel to actually get into the show talking about you. So um, I want to kind of get into, your business and things like that, but we're going to get there. But we have to know where the origins of you started first. So where exactly did you grow up?
So I am a little girl from Bethel Park, Pennsylvania, which is a small suburban city outside of Pittsburgh, maybe about 30 minutes outside of Pittsburgh.
Okay. So, wow, okay. I don't think I've ever heard of that city, but you got to tell me. So, being Pittsburgh, Steel City, the mantra of hard working, things like that. How was it growing up where you grew up?
Again, I grew up in a small town, which was actually a coal mining town, and my grandfather um, worked in the coal mines. But we had gardens behind our house. He was a master gardener. So I grew up learning how to grow my own food and how to feed yourself and canning green beans and peppers and things of that nature. So
Wow.
yes, it
So,
was a working town and we worked to eat. Absolutely.
okay. All right. So, wow. Wow. I can only imagine the patience it takes with gardening and watering and all those different things that go into that. I mean, uh, is it kind of like not an arduous process, but a basically a time consuming process doing all that?
It's time consuming, but I believe it's a lost art. Anytime you are a gardener, you really are in the height of life. And I will say it like my grandfather used to say, it's just like a seed. When you plant it, if you don't put it down deep enough, right, the sunlight will burn it, the wind will blow it away, or the rain will drown it. And that's real life, right? If we're in the sun,
Right.
we can get burnt. If we're around certain people, we can get burnt, right? If you're out in the rain, it can wash you away. The wind can blow you away to and fro. So there are some everyday life lessons that you learn in the garden. And when things
Yeah.
get tough, you have to pick those weeds out of the garden. And before you start anything, you have to till the garden. So you have to know the soil that you are planting in, just as we do as humans.
Okay. All right. All right. I do like the comparison there, and it definitely does ring very, very true. Um, so, what all other things did you do kind of growing up? Did you grow up with any siblings or any family around or anything of that nature too?
I am actually an only child, and I happen to be my mother's only child, and she was the youngest child. So my grandparents raised me. So I'm like a catch 22. I'm their youngest child, yet I am the oldest grandchild and the only child.
Ah, okay. All right. All right. So, um, of course, you talked about gardening, things like that, but as a kid, we all have dreams, and we all have different things we want to do, want to be, and that nature. So, what was one of the first things you wanted to be when you grew up?
I always wanted to be an attorney. One of
Ah,
the things I think
okay.
I'm always curious, and I still am. I ask a lot of questions. I'm very observant. So I did not become the attorney, but I became a paralegal, which is
Okay.
right
All
below
right.
the attorney.
Got you. Okay. So you actually lived out your dream, I should say, your thought in terms of what you wanted to be growing up. Usually, because just being on my end, I wanted to be a football player, a pro
Hmm.
football player when I was a kid, and of course, made it all the way to college, but didn't quite have enough talent or anything like that to make it to the pros. So just it is what it is. But it definitely helped me get somewhere and kind of figure out what I wanted to do. And of course, there's always new things that pop up from time to time. So yeah,
Right.
definitely am interested to kind of find out a little bit more about the gardening and maybe how that kind of transitioned over to Tea Snob. But we're going to get into that. But first we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to get into kind of how gardening may have helped you transition to potentially Tea Snob on
Okay.
on This Woman Works.
EBO Beard Butter and EBO Beard Wash are two of the best beard grooming products for men worldwide. They help promote growth, keep your beard moisturized and soft, and enhance your overall upkeep of your facial hair. And with the new promo code MPAFC10, you can get 10% off of these products. Just go to www.etsy.com/shop/EBO Beard Butter. Again, that's www.etsy.com/shop/EBO Beard Butter. And again, the promo code MPAFC10. Again, MPAFC10, where you can get 10% off any products except for beard boxes. So treat your beard better today by going to get these the EBO Beard Butter and EBO Beard Wash.
All right, and we are back. And I know, Cassandra, you are wondering, why do I have EBO Beard Butter as a sponsor on a show called This Woman Works? Okay, let me break it down. Basically, why I have that is because a lot of times, looking around, do men really know how to take care of ourselves as much? Not really as much all the time. And sometimes it takes a woman to be able to help that man take care of himself. Hence why I've got the EBO Beard Butter commercial on This Woman Works. Maybe give an idea to some woman watching, or maybe there's a man watching that needs that EBO Beard Butter. But, just wanted to kind of, I guess, I know there was probably questions that you had, like, okay, why is this commercial on this show? So yeah, that kind of you said you had a lot of questions, so hey, I figured I'd provide an answer.
Thank you.
All right, now getting back to the show, of course, you talked about gardening and growing all the vegetables and things like that, but I kind of want to get into Tea Snob, which is your business. Um, how did you kind of, I guess, discover kind of the teas and things like that? How did that kind of first come to mind for you?
So Tea Snob came about because I have a condition called PCOS, which is polycystic ovarian syndrome, which is a hormonal and endocrine um, issue for women, for over 10 million women and counting. Okay. I was on 3 different pills that was not working for me, and I was looking for a healthier alternative than pills. And it just so happened, I'm a tea lover. However, like everyone else, I was more into tea bag tea. Um, but I will say one day after a failed doctor's attempt, I happened to have some nettle and some hibiscus in the cabinet, and I made a cup of tea that day with those particular herbs. And for some reason or another that day, those herbs hit different in my body. It was like I could feel energized again, right? Something about it, I felt focused and whole, and I felt cared for and comforted by that cup of tea. Um, and so I continued drinking that blend for about a week until I ran out. And when I ran out of the nettle and hibiscus, recognized that I found myself back in bed. Um, my stress levels were up. I had a little bit of depression. And at first, I did not know that it was the herbs that had changed my body during the course of that week and had got me up and moving and feeling good, right? So I happened to send a friend of mine back to the store to get those same herbs, the nettle and the hibiscus. And again, same feeling. I was up, I was moving around, I was energized. And so I started to do a little research and found out that nettle is a super herb. And so that it has more vitamins and minerals than leafy greens. And what it did was it replenished my body with vitamins A, B, C, D, E, and K, as well as minerals such as manganese, magnesium, iron, zinc, potassium, all the things that our body loses and we don't replenish it because we don't feed our body the right nutrients. So as I began to do more research, and in that time, I was starting to feel better and better. Okay. And then I started looking into all the other herbs, and that is how Tea Snob actually came about.
Wow. Wow. That is truly something that happened definitely for your health. Now, I just want to read the statement that I read on your website that said that you state you founded Tea Snob and a simple idea to provide good health, hydration, and happiness to those of us living with invisible conditions. So it makes
Mhm.
perfect sense why Tea Snob came about. So, um, as far as making Tea Snob a business, how did that kind of that ball start rolling?
Honestly, some of my friends noticed that I was feeling good and I was up and I wanted to be outside and leave the house. I'm really a homebody. But it was like, oh, let's go, let's do this. And they're like, what are you doing? Like, you look good, you feel good. And I was like, oh, just this tea. Everybody wanted to try it. I'm like, I can't just give it to you. So all in all, business was kind of like a fluke. It was like I couldn't just give you my tea blend. So I started selling it. And
Okay.
once I gave it to a couple people, they were like, that's really good. It feels great. I feel better. And so, funny thing is that blend, the nettle and the hibiscus, and I added some rose to it now, is called Restore. And it was not the first blend that I put on out. I actually kept Restore to myself for the first year of business because it was mine. It was
Okay.
my personal blend. That's the way I felt about it. Um, but after a while, I realized that not just that blend, but the rest of the blends had helped me get off of the 3 pills that the doctor had me on.
Okay. All right. All right. So definitely wow, it's a lot that goes into this. So I would say what all goes into your teaser? How do you kind of decide how to make a certain mixture or batch or anything like that? Does a lot of research go into that, or do you just kind of experiment a little bit as well?
Funny thing, I I know nothing about herbs, or I've never studied it. Okay.
Okay.
Um, what I did was I created blends for myself for everything that I thought and I felt like I needed. And I named every blend for what I needed. So if you were on the website and you looked at the self care collection, I needed me time. right? And so I created a soothing blend that was relaxing and for everyday use called Me Time. It reminded me to sit and take time for myself. There's also a blend in there called Peaceful Moments, right? My anxiety was high. My brain was moving around a lot. I needed some peaceful moments. There's also a blend called Calm. You know, when your anxiety is high, you need the peaceful moments, but your brain is like, and you can't get it to turn off. So Calm has some sedative herbs in it that will actually just quiet the brain so that you can relax. Also, in that self care collection is a blend called Rest Easy because sometimes we're restless. So it has herbs in it just to calm your mind and body as well. So again, when I say the blends were made for what I needed, like restore, I needed to be restored to good health, hydration, and happiness. My health was failing. I was not, the pills that the doctor prescribed was not helping me maintain my condition. And a lot of people don't know that we all have some kind of condition, right? It's invisible, but we're not. So our conditions are invisible, but we are not. We are human. And just because you don't see me struggling on the outside does not mean I'm not being attacked by my body on the inside, which was happening and which
Gotcha,
happens to a
gotcha.
lot of people. If you have any type of autoimmune or things like that, we can't see that.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right. Yeah, definitely. I definitely can see where you came up with everything and how the idea came about, and just the value of what Tea Snob brings. I mean, not only to you, but you sharing it with the world is definitely something that I'm pretty sure a lot of people that go to your website definitely enjoy and definitely are thankful for. We're going to take another quick commercial break. When we come back, I'm kind of going to dive into maybe a little bit of advice you may have, or kind of dive into the business portion of Tea Snob, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Uh, all right, we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back on This Woman Works.
A shift. A shift is something that happens and changes the dynamics. And that's what happened when Garrett Logistics was born. After 10 years as a sales pro in the logistics world of sporting goods, John Garrett decided to pivot to the world of freight and start a brokerage. So you're saying to yourself, why trust Garrett Logistics? Well, Garrett Logistics helps shippers improve overall workflow, along with increased on-time pickup and delivery percentages. Last-minute loads, multi-drop pickups, and more are part of the services with Garrett Logistics. They're available Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 6 p.m., and Saturday, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m., all times Central Standard Time. So give them a ring at 615-400-8484. That's 615-400-8484, or you can email them at john@garrettlogistics.co or visit their website at garrettlogistics.co. Garrett Logistics, where the motto is, it's not just freight to us, it's your business.
All right, and we are back on touring the AF. Oh, good gracious. I'm thinking about my other show. We are back on This Woman Works, of course, with Cassandra Spearman. Boy, oh boy. I guess when you're doing two shows, stuff starts to run together. But, but before we went to commercial break, we did talk about your business and wanted to get into more of the business portion. Now, the business portion, we talked about the value of the business, but we also want to talk about the business portion in terms of, your books, numbers, things like that. What were some of the challenges that you had in terms of trying to get the business started, or running the business as it is currently?
I would say educating people on the herbs and the herbal actions. And the herbal actions are what the herbs can do for your body. Now, there are adaptogenic herbs, right, that help you with stress, daily stress. And all of our blends have adaptogenic herbs in it. Okay. There's also nervine herbs, right? And those help your body in different ways. And I think educating people to say that this blend can help you with stress, this blend can help you with depression, this blend can help you with blood circulation, right? And recognizing that herbs are synergistic. So the more you have to have the right mix, but they do it's like they know what to do is when they go into your body. They know how to feed you and how to nourish you without, like without us telling us. It's like eating the right foods. You know what I mean? Like herbs were
Mhm.
put here before we were to help us, right? To feed us, to give us the nutrients, and recognizing that our bodies know how to heal itself, but we don't give it the right nourishment. And since herbs were here before us, that's our plant medicine, right? Recognizing and teaching people that 80% of the population, herbs are their only form of health care. And they live longer than us in other countries. We're westernized. So we want to pop a pill, which is harder on our body, and herbs are gentler on our body.
Okay. All right. All right. So, um, you are a black woman that owns a business, and that is, definitely something to be commended for, and also something I know that in some situations, unfortunately, it can be hard. So, advice do you have for any other black women that maybe want to start their own business, maybe now or in the future, or kind of working towards that?
Study your craft.
Hmm.
I would say study your craft and take the leap. It is easier to say I tried than to always have a regret.
Okay. All right, definitely. It is tough to kind of, I guess, jump out there sometimes because you want to overthink situations and say, hey, I need to have this in place, that in place, this in place, that in place, and the longer you do that, the longer the business that people don't know they need never gets out, right?
Right. Right. And here's the thing, like when I started, like I said, I didn't go to school for this. I wasn't educated in it per se. I did research, and for the first year, I had an herbalist who knew what she was doing create all my blends for the first year as I studied and researched, right? And I became so good at what she was doing and the blends that she sent me because I did not have training, quote unquote. I knew the smell of every single blend, right? So I was my own quality control. When she'd send me a blend, I'd open it up and I breathe it in, right? And so over time, I began to know the smell, the taste, the fragrance. And at some point, she had sent me a batch and it was missing one of the herbs. She was out of it and told me
Hmm.
where to order it from and how to get it. But what I knew immediately is when I opened it and smelled it, I called her. I said, something's missing. And she said, if you look at the bottom of the box, I sent you a note and told you that this herb is not in it. I can't believe you knew. But again, study your craft, study what it is that you're trying to do, right? And then it does not always matter that you don't have the background or the education that people think you have, but absolutely knowing what it is that you bring to the table can change everything for you. So after the first year, I began to do things myself. I asked her to send me all the recipes, and I started learning that taking your time and adding little things to the mix, right? So now, yes, I make all my own blends. I think we started out with 10. She did my first 10. I now have about 22, 23 blends. And yes, I curate everything and blend it and come up with the recipes myself.
Wow, that's amazing. That is amazing, amazing, amazing. You definitely took something that was for your health and for your well-being, and you have turned it into something that is, it sounds like a passion for you. So,
It definitely is. And I think one of the things that also makes it great is I'm just not selling tea, right? It is an
mhm.
absolute lifestyle and I use it. It got me off of pills, right? And so it is my daily medicine. It does supply me with all the vitamins and minerals that I need to keep myself in good health, hydration, and happiness.
Awesome. Awesome story. Awesome business. I want to thank you for your time. But of course, we're not going to end the show with just going over your business and kind of how you got to where you are and the things that you're doing now. We want to allow people to know a little bit more about you. So we have the speed round. We got 10 questions. I'll just tell everyone Cassandra does not know any of these questions. Cassandra, I'm sorry. Cassandra does not know any of these questions ahead of time. So they are random questions. Cassandra, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Where's your favorite spot to eat?
Hmm. Probably my own kitchen.
Okay.
I do like to cook. I like to cook. I don't like to clean up. So I have a battle almost every night. So I do a lot of the meal prepping so that it's not a constant cleanup.
Got you. Okay. Who's your favorite actress or actor?
Hmm. I think I would say I like Angela Bassett because she's timeless.
Gotcha. Yeah, I watched 911 and I got hooked on that show.
Yes.
So that is one of my favorites. Okay. If someone was to play you in a biopic, who would it be?
Hmm. It's wild because I she's not my favorite. However,
Mhm.
she's versatile, so I would say Vivica Fox.
Okay. All right. Um, best childhood memory.
Mm. My grandfather used to always take me for ice cream. And
Mhm.
so I still do that today. I like a vanilla cone with the rainbow jimmies or sprinkles on it.
Okay. All right. Favorite vacation spot.
Grease.
Greece. Okay. Okay. I hadn't made it that far yet. I have not made it. I made it to, let's see, gone to Toronto, gone to Cancun. Just have not made it quite across the pond, but it'll happen. It'll happen though.
Yeah, I Greece, and it's funny because I've been to Dubai and Greece, and I went to Dubai at a different season in my life. You know how we have different seasons in Greece. And I will say that when I went to Dubai, my brain mapped new things. But when I went to Greece, it was like my eyes and heart opened.
Okay. All right. One group for a concert. Who's that group you're going to see?
Hmm.
Or it could be just an individual singer.
This can never happen because they are deceased, but I would love to see Michael Jackson and Prince.
Yeah, that would be an interesting concert in itself. It would, that would be interesting, definitely for sure. It kind of reminds me because they had, I guess they had a secret rivalry or something of that nature. But I don't know, that would be interesting in itself. I can just imagine Prince and his looks that he would
Yeah.
give towards Michael Jackson. All right, what is your favorite song currently?
Mm. There is this song called Yes by Shekinah Glory, but there's a younger girl now who has remade the song, and she's all over TikTok. And no matter what I'm doing, when I hear that sound, I immediately stop. It gets me every single time.
Okay. All right. Well, I can't say this is my favorite song right now, but I am listening to the new Lucky Day album, so I'm
Okay.
kind of into that album. Let's see. What your favorite tea that you have?
Restore.
Restore. I figured Restore would be it because that the value of that one.
Restore is my favorite blend. But Me Time has been our number one bestseller since day one.
Huh. Okay. All right. What is the best advice you've ever received?
To pay attention to your own vision because it will illuminate the exits that you need to take in your life.
Wow, that's a good one. That's a good one. I thought you were going to say pay attention to your own vision because other people will cloud it. That's what I thought you were going to say. But I was like, that one right there was a good one. I haven't heard that one. That's a good one.
Yes, it illuminates the exits that you need to take in your life. When you know yourself and you know your vision, you will understand that there are things and people and places that you need to leave. And just like the exit sign is in red, wherever you are in a place, somehow that illumination becomes okay, I don't need that person anymore. I don't need this place anymore. I need to exit that in order for my vision to be what it needs to be.
Okay. All right. And last one, favorite music genre.
90s R&B.
Isn't it great? That
I
one and Neo
and
Soul.
I still only listen to that. You know why? I can understand the words and it makes sense to me.
I hear you. I hear you. Even though listening, even though thinking about it, some of them songs, I'm like, well, yeah, I really probably shouldn't have been singing that song. But okay, it's all right though.
Right,
We
right.
grown now. But a close second to that for me is Neo Soul. Neo Soul
I
era.
agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
That I still remember listening to the Music Soul Child album when it first came out. I probably wore
Mhm.
that album out. Yeah, that album. Then you had Glenn Lewis. I know people don't remember him. Guy
Mhm.
from Canada singing and Don't You Forget It. That song from back in
Okay.
the day.
Okay.
And Dwele is still one of my favorites.
He is.
I mean, yeah, he's still one
Hmm.
of my favorites. I mean, you've got Kindred Family Soul. Then you got man, you just got so many different artists that were around during that time. And of course, you can't forget the queen of it, Sade. Sade was the one that started
Oh
it back in
yeah,
the '90s, and then or
absolutely.
'80s and '90s, and then everyone else picked it up 20 years later. So
Right.
yeah, so yeah, but enough reminiscing for right now. We are out of the speed round, and Miss Cassandra Spearman, thank you. Thank you for coming on this show. Thank you for telling everyone about Tea Snob. And of course, for those that are watching the show, I want to kind of scroll across the bottom where you can find out more information or put it on the bottom of the screen where you can get more information for Tea Snob. It's www.myteasnob.com. Now, if you want to tell everyone more information about it, you can go right ahead. I mean, that is to me, I'm leaving the floor open to you, so that way you can give more information about it if you'd like.
Absolutely. So, Tea Snob is an all natural loose leaf herbal tea company providing everyday wellness that's easy to implement into your day so that you can rest and not quit. One of the things that people always say to me is that they don't have time, they just don't have the time. And you absolutely do have 15 minutes to take a 15-minute tea ritual to take care of yourself, to relax, to slow down and come back home to yourself. And finally, I will say when you brew yourself a cup of tea, make sure that you brew you. And that is breathe. Take time to breathe. Take time to reset. Take time to express yourself. And at the end, you take time to water yourself. So by the time you brew your cup of tea and it has steeped, you should have breathed, reset, express yourself, and it should be have cooled down by then. You can water yourself, replenish, and recharge with your cup of tea, all in 15 minutes. To try our herbal blends, you can go to www.myteasnob.com. And this week is Christmas in July. So our 2-ounce bags of tea, which are normally $27, are $19 until Friday.
Wow, I mean, you really motivated me. I'm making notes over here. Let's see. So $27 now, 19.
They
Okay,
are
cool.
19 until Saturday at
Mm,
11:59 p.m.
So Saturday. I'm making notes over here. I don't just bring guests on the show. I actually get some knowledge myself if you're not paying attention. But yes, thank you so very much for coming on the show. Of course, those that don't know, I am the host of the show. My name is Mike Patton. You can find me on the artist formerly known as Twitter, paying homage to one of the greatest artists of all times. That would be Prince. At Mike Patton 82. That's MikePatton 82. You can find me on Instagram and Threads at that's THA, not THE, _general_MP. Of course, you can find This Woman Works on Spotify and also on YouTube as well. Go ahead and subscribe to the Mike Patton Network. You'll get all the shows. Click the bell. So that way you don't miss any episodes. Also, there is playlist there for This Woman Works, so you can catch all the previous episodes as well. I want to thank you, everyone, for tuning into this episode of This Woman Works. Cassandra, I want to thank you for coming on the show again. It was a pleasure. And this is This Woman Works. We're out.
Thank you. Bye-bye.